As we head into severe weather season, KXAN continues to watch out for your safety. Tonight, only we have a copy of an internal report Hays County leaders produced in the days following the deadly Memorial Day floods.
The Community Public Health Assessment is a tool county emergency managers use to gauge the kind of help flood survivors needed and the help they actually got. And it's a tool that has not been made public until KXAN investigator Robert Maxwell dug it up.
All of this was underwater.
The trauma of last spring's flood remains fresh for longtime Blanco River residents like Norma Stiegler. She says her son-in-law woke her up as water poured over a back deck and into her kitchen.
Did you ever get an evacuation
Well,
notice?
like I say, I was in bed asleep, so I didn't.
You heard nothing?
Nothing.
Stiegler's story is familiar. Just days after the flood water receded, county surveyors knocked on doors and found 51% of surveyed households in San Marcos received no evacuation notice. In Wimberley, it was 66%. And countywide, 15% of those surveyed relied on neighbors' warnings to evacuate. Surveyors completed their report last summer. And KXAN discovered county staff never publicized it, instead holding it back as part of a yet-to-be-completed overall look at the flood disaster.
Throughout the region.
Veteran elected officials like Commissioner Will Conley, whose district the flood hit hardest, admit they only got a first look at the survey report this week when we asked about it.
Would there have been a benefit to releasing it publicly, saying, look, these recommendations are out, and here's what we're doing about them?
Our focus, again, has been on actually delivering hard improvements.
Like building out the region's flood monitoring network of sensors and gauges and replacing the Fisher Store Bridge. One thing Conley says the county has not prioritized is communicating those safety fixes and other less visible changes, including a key recommendation from the survey to improve the wording of telephone evacuation messages for the next flood.
Are you keeping people informed about the progress of this flood recovery?
Yes, can we improve on that? Most definitely.
Now, those fixes to the county's public safety network we're telling you about for the first time here, text and phone alerts in the past urged people only to move to higher ground. Now they're more time sensitive to include words like evacuate now. Tourists renting riverside properties will now receive information how to download regional emergency notification apps on their phones and access local emergency phone numbers. And emergency planners are developing alternate escape routes for communities accessed, Shannon, by low water crossings. And Hays County staff tell us the survey findings and recommendations will be part of that after action report that we've been expecting out for some time.
And Robert, I know you have been asking for that report for months now, and this area even went through another flood since the survey that you talked about in your story.
Right, the Halloween flood in October of this past year. Still no timeline on when that AAR, that after action report, is going to be released.
All right, Robert, thank you very much. Other changes the county says it is making in the wake of the floods are with this story online in the investigative section of KXAN.com.